so I'll be a lot less formal. I live up the street here in a house, and Joe and I have been friends for like 30 years. And I ran with him, and I ran several marathons with him. And I'll be quick. We weren't very quick with the marathons, but I'll be quick. In 1993, we actually went to Melbourne, Australia together to run a marathon, and we stayed with Leith's nephew, Greg, and his wife. And the night before, Joe always beat me, and maybe because I'm a few years older, you know. And he'd always beat me in the marathon. So the night before, we went to a restaurant in Melbourne, and I had what is the greatest pre-meal, well, the greatest source of protein for any runner. I had emu meat, and it was delicious. It tastes like chicken. Okay. And so, but the problem was I was sleeping in the same room with Joe. We did this all the time. So we ran 5 or 6 marathons together all over the world. I'd be sleeping in the same room with Joe, but he snored. I don't know if I snored because I never heard myself, but he did snore. So, of course, Joe was snoring. We were in the same room. We got up the next morning. We ran the marathon. And for some reason, it was one of those days. I just took off and I ran away from him. And for most of the marathon, I was way ahead of him, okay? He had a distinctive way of running. He had this heavy, and you could hear about the marathons are 26 miles. So I was between like mile 25 and 26. I stopped to get a glass of Gatorade, and I heard the pitter-patter of little feet. I said, how the hell did he catch me? Like this. And he came up from behind, and he beat me by about 10 or 15 seconds. And then he came like this, and I was like behind. I couldn't crank it up anymore. I couldn't get it faster because it was at the end of the race. And I said, Joe, you know, how did you catch me then? I was way ahead of you. I was way ahead of you. I'm not going to let you embarrass me in front of my relatives. I'm going to. I said, well, I guess the secret, because that was actually the fastest marathon I ever ran, and I said, I guess the secret is that if you want to run a fast marathon, you eat emu meat in the beginning, and then sleep in Joe's the same room as Joe and have him snore. So that was it. And for 30 years, until he got injured, we ran in the neighborhood because I lived right up the street, and we shared many stories. In fact, so many stories that when we were running, or even when we would go to coffees of bread and chocolate, we would start the stories and we would tell each other to shut up because we heard them. Someone would come over and interrupt us while we were talking like that. I said, don't worry about it. It's been the same conversation for 25 years. So, and one time in 1990, I'll be quick again because we were running the Moscow Marathon. And I was with another group. He was with his family. I guess they came from London. Came from London, among other places. And we had their hotels all set up. But as they do in Russia, they switch you, and without telling you. And then we had no way of contacting each other. So here we were at the Moscow Marathon. I know Joe was there. I was there, but we couldn't find each other. So I decided, as runners do, because we drink a lot of water, we had to use the facilities. And the facility in this place would look like a gypsy wagon. It was a wagon full of urinals, and it had high wheels, and it was up high like this, and it had windows. So as I was standing there doing what you need to do, and looking out the window, all of a sudden I see this very familiar bald head walking. And it was Joe. So I wasn't in a position where I could move quickly, and I really wasn't in a position where I could scream. So I finished. And I guess people who looked at me probably thought I would need a diaper, because I just finished a little bit prematurely, okay, because I wanted to catch him. So I go running out there, and I screamed, and we ended up running the Moscow Marathon together, like that. And I think he beat me in that one too. But the problem with Joe, he'd always have an appetite after the marathons. Nobody has an appetite after the marathon. You're sick. Well, he decided he was going to drink some tea. Okay, I remember Rochelle was a little kid like that. She was running around, and Leith was there like that. I was standing like that. I said, Joe, don't drink the tea. I said, please don't drink the tea. I'm going to drink the tea. So he drinks the tea. 2 minutes later, he's over in the corner, throwing up. And for Bermuda, the same way. We finished the Bermuda Marathon. We were in Hamilton, Bermuda. Joe said, I'm hungry. I said, Joe, don't eat. Don't eat it. Please don't eat. and he got a piece of pizza. He actually had a piece of pizza with pepperoni on it. That's how much he loved the food and the marathon. And of course, you can guess what happened, you know. And I barely got myself out of the way before it happened. So those are some of the stories. We had a million stories. I traveled with the family to Vietnam and to New Zealand. I met all of Lee's relatives in New Zealand. I had a great time. There were just so many stories that I could tell, but those are the ones that sort of stand out. I witnessed them I'm a defense lawyer in New York and in Washington. In fact, I have to catch a train in a couple hours. I go back. I live up here, but I go back during the week. But I never really saw them in action. But I certainly heard all the stories. Okay, I said all of the stories, and he used to tell me about his win streaks, and you know, we went into the last one like just a few years ago. He won like 9 or 10 in a row. I said, "What defense attorney wins 9 or 10 straight?" Then he began telling me the stories of what he told the clients to tell the jury. You know, it's in our profession, it's really just so much bull, frankly. And if you really believe us, then we got you hooked. You know, Joe was extremely believable. I mean, like I said, we had thousands of conversations together. We ran thousands of miles together. We went all over the world together. And I stand here right now and I'm looking at everybody. I look at this house. I've been in this house so many times with everyone, and I just can't believe he's gone. It's really pains me to even just stand here and look around and not see him. Thank you.